Just start?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't do like the little intro thing, man.
Oh.
Hold on. How you do the intro? Here we go.
American football in Finland.
All right, yo, give me my intro. The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Pervis, and this is American football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Coach Q. What up, Q?
What up? What up? You back?
Another one, man. The AFF podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us visually here on YouTube, wherever you listen to watch. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and like us. Anybody who's listening, watching, but not hitting the subscribe button, you are a hater. But that's cool. We're gonna get on with the show, anyways. All right, it's first down. We get a chance to start fresh and discuss whatever is on our minds. Q, what's new with you, man?
Oh man, same old man. I don't be having nothing to talk about every week. My days are super repetitive when I'm out in the sandbox. It's hot. But other than that, man, I just been watching ball. That's it.
Well, I had a interesting weekend. I was in Sweden for the weekend. Got to see the Karlstad Crusaders win the Super Saren over the Tyresö Royal Crowns. Um, got to got the opportunity to talk to a lot of people like up close in person that I've been talking to online and things. So it's really interesting. Reminded me of I kind of miss going to the football games a little bit here in Finland because like it's always good to see people, and like talk to them and maybe not be on the pod or online or something like that, like and see someone's reactions and stuff. So it was fun to like get out there, especially in Sweden because I don't go as often as I like to, but still they got love for me out there. So it was good to know that still loved out there. Got to visit Karlstad, the city, for the first time. Pretty cool place. Their kebabs are much better than the kebabs in Finland. Like crazy. It's like it was a whole thing. Like Alpha was like, you got to go to this place and try this kebab. So I had somebody like take me out there, go to the city, go to certain spots, and like the first kebab I had, like this is way better than every kebab in Finland. And they was like, yeah, that's not even the best one. I'm like, it ain't got to get better for me. I'm good. Like, this is enough. Like, I've had enough. Like, the bar is set. Like, I don't have to go any further. So that was kind of cool. Met a lot of interesting like conversations just in the traveling. A lot of people like started conversations with me, which was a little different than what I'm accustomed to here in Finland, where you don't say nothing, nobody else say something. And I actually had a lot of conversations from Swedish people just like started talking to me. So that was pretty interesting. It was revitalizing. It got me back to like, okay, it was sunny out there. So, that's always good. So I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get back to the Maple League because as much as I did enjoy like meeting a couple people and seeing the city, Sweden, it's lacking some things that Finland has. It's lacking. And one of them is the football play. So I'm excited to talk about the Maple League, despite 2 out of the 3 games this weekend not being up to snuff. Actually, you know what? 1 out of the 3. Because once we get into the games, I'll let you know my opinions about it. But the Maple League football, I really appreciate how well and competitive the players are compared to some other places. So that was my weekend in a nutshell. But let's get into it. All right, let's talk about some of the key player performances from this weekend. All stats aside, these are players who deserve recognition for their play last weekend. We can go 1, 2, or 3 helmet stickers or stars, whatever we're calling them, depending on their performances. Let's start with the one sticker guys or one star. We should just call it stars. I don't know why I have stickers on here. Stars makes more sense. Who you got for one stars, Q?
One star for me. I believe his name is last name is Vertinainen. Vertinainen. I think that's the receiver for the San Jose Crocodiles. Um, Caught a lot of passes, a few passes over the middle, big gains. That was nice to see that confidence there. Um, I mean, he kind of just stood out in the game to me early. What's up? What
I
you
got his
say?
stats. I got it because I was like I agree with you, but is Vertinen Eustace Vertinen? He had 9 receptions for 135 yards.
Yeah, yeah, he went off. He went out. He
I,
definitely went off.
I didn't realize he like did that well.
Yeah, yeah, he stood out. I like to see that. Who else can I think of them that? Both safeties. I think both safeties. Number 12. I couldn't remember what his last name was. Yeah, I think he plays either nickelback or safety for the Crocodiles too. He had a pick six pretty early in the game, and then number 20 also for the Crocodiles had a nice pick two in the game.
Number
So
20,
um,
number 20, that's actually Sarah, and then I know that one. Number
Sarah,
12, I
yeah,
don't know his name, and I think his name is Yuho Kasari.
gotcha. Okay, yeah. So he had a
Yep,
nice pick
another
six.
interception.
Um, just a whole. I mean, if I can honestly say, I'd say the Crocodiles defense as a whole get a one sticker from me. Um, Even though it was the Wolverines, still they still made a lot of plays that they needed to make sure they won the game. So maybe I would probably give Quicker for the Steelers. He had a pretty nice
Mm,
game too. Um, he probably could have got two stickers, but I just started him off with one because uh, the other person on that team he probably would get three stickers from me this week. But yeah,
gotcha.
just to name a few those guys. Yeah, that's it for my one sticker. Probably.
All right. So for my one sticker, I'm looking on my phone. I took my notes on my phone for some. Oh yeah, Kyle was out of town, but I'm going actually with some of the youngsters from the Wolverines. I'm gonna go with number 33, Sebastian Lugora. He had 10 rushes for 48 yards, had a 4.8 yard average. He ran hard. Like I was impressed with him, and I'm normally not impressed with him. I don't think he's the best running back out of him and the number 2, Jonathan. I think Jonathan's a better runner on the regular, but in this game, he really did have some really legitimate runs for the Wolverines. It's just their offense is their offense, but he wasn't a negative for them. Again, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry, and that's really impressive. So shout out to him. Another guy I want to shout out to, cornerback number 43, Capo Vioa. He was impressive. And again, another guy that I know that he has talent, but he hasn't been impressive. And in this game, he held his own at that cornerback position and had a couple big plays for them. And he was pretty much always in on the tackles when they were saving touchdowns out there in the secondary. So shout out to him. And then shout out to his teammate, safety number 4, Fiso Salama, because again, didn't play like lights out great, made a whole bunch of plays, but he made a lot of plays. A lot of times he's the guy in on the tackle. He played really good in coverage. Again, the Wolverines defense played good enough to win. They honestly did. And I think these two guys helped them on the back end limit what could have been crazy. Like, even though Eustace Vertinen had 135 yards receiving, I said, right? Is that what I said? 135 receiving. He had 0 touchdowns. He had 0 touchdowns
Close.
because
Yeah,
that's
he
what
was
they
close.
did. They
Yeah.
yeah, and he won a couple matchups against Solomon. I saw it, but the thing was, yeah, he won the matchup and got him down in the middle of the field. But when it came, like, it came down to crunch time, Solomon made the plays he needed. On a fourth down, I think Vua stopped a pass that could have been a touchdown. Like, these guys were making plays for that defense. And that's one thing I really, once we get into it, I'll talk about it, is that I think the Wolverines defense played really well. And the last guy I want to talk about, I gave 1 star to. I gotta find them on these damn rosters. I don't have, um defensive lineman from the Tampa Bay Saints, number 68, Samuel Chase McCoy. Um, he might get lost in the shuffle. all the good players in this league. And then he's on the Saints, so obviously the Saints aren't having a great season, so he's not going to get applauded. But he was working that Steelers defensive offensive line, and I don't know if anybody else knows him, but I'm watching O line and D line play all year because it's one of the hardest positions to judge. So I'm always watching when I know there's quality. Steelers have a quality offensive line. McCoy was back there. He was in there. I don't know his stats. I think he had a sack. He might have had maybe one sack, but he was putting up pressure all game for them. And that's hard to do considering they really weren't in a position to really be dominating or anything. But he was able to put up pressure and make plays. I think what it says, he had one tackle for loss in the game, so maybe he didn't have a sack. But number 68, he stood out to me. I noticed that number a lot in the game. So that's my 1 star. Who do you got for 2 stars?
Man, 2 stars. I'm gonna just say some names. Jalen Todd could have been a three. Could have been a three. I'm gonna go Jalen Todd for
Mm-hmm.
a two star. The man is definitely worth whatever they is they paying. He's definitely worth that. He's always around the ball. I like his energy at backer. I like that he commands the defense. He's the leader, I believe, on that defense, and very comfortable in there. Made the plays when they need to be made. He was, like I said, he was always around the ball. He's sideline to sideline. So I gave him 2 stickers. Who else got 2 stickers? I'm gonna say Robitaille. Robitaille really could have had 3 stickers, so he in that mid
Mm,
range. But
yeah.
he's to me, like I said, years before, I think he's one of the best receivers still in Europe. Period. Because he just makes stuff look so easy when he got the ball in his hand
Can,
and his
can
routes,
I throw out his stats?
everything.
Can I throw out his stats
Yeah,
because they're crazy? 5 receptions, 162 yards, and 1 touchdown.
yeah. Boy, that deal, man. Running across the middle, running deep routes, everything. Robitaille is a lot to handle, and sometimes these early games he got lost in the sauce a little bit because they got so many people on the team, and Lucas might
Mm-hmm.
hit a game or two. So Robitaille definitely could have been 2, 3 star. Another 2 star. I'm gonna go with um ah I can't. I just got his name.
Deontay,
Running back for
Deontay Smith.
Deontay Smith. Yeah,
Yeah,
Deontay
I was
Smith.
gonna say you
Could have
forgot his
been, could
last
have been,
his name last time.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Could have been three in that range of 3-2. Very hard runner. Made a lot of. I mean, he has some yak. Boy has some yak. Boy, that's a big boy too. Look
can I
real
give you?
muscular.
Let me give you
Go
his
ahead.
stats. You said 2 stars.
Yeah, I mean, he because of the Wolverines, because of
The
who they played
Wolverines.
against.
Yeah, I was gonna say because of the Wolverines. Okay, he had 231 yards and 4 touchdowns. And
Yeah,
and here's the kicker: he averaged 8.3 yards a carry.
yeah. We going. Well, we might as well bump into the three, but it was Wolverines.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give him 2 for that
yeah.
anyway. I ain't gonna slide it that much off of that. But he has, real strong game. Scored when definitely broke, and they didn't want no parts of him. Anytime he got past the linebackers, they didn't want anything to do with him. So that was a hard rushing game for him. Another 2 star. I'm gonna go with Ethan Greenfield. He could have
Mm.
probably in that same range of 2 to 3. Had a
Let
big
me
game
check
on the
out his
ground.
stats. Let me
Yeah,
check out his stats. Ethan Greenfield, 233 yards with 2 touchdowns. His average was 16.6 yards a carry.
yeah, yeah. That's ridiculous.
16. What?
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Definitely
yeah,
3 stick. I
15.
mean, he could be 3 stickers too, but it was the same. So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right. I hate to slight them like that, man, because they are 3 star performances. Let me not take it out.
Yeah.
I just be hard sometimes on people, but Ethan Greenfield
Mhm.
had a strong game. Um, who else can I go 2 sticker? Thinking of the other game.
Let me
Man,
give you the actual 2 star
uh,
because out of compared to
yeah,
those two, I would say Christian Powell. He was on my list, and I gave him 2 stars because he had 174 yards, 2 touchdowns, average 8 yards a carry. Which, when I
yeah,
say that, that's a 3 star performance. But then look at the two guys you just named.
yeah,
And I'm like, I give him 2 stars
yeah,
because he was in the mix though. Like I think he did a really good
yeah,
job, and I thought it was impressive because before I don't look at the stats when I do my stars. I was just like noticing he was just running. They never actually stopped that guy ever. He was
Yeah,
able to run the whole game as he wanted to, doing as he wanted, and he was just in a mode, and that he just kept chugging along. It wasn't at the same clip as those other two guys, but again, they were playing a Rooster. They're playing a better team than those other two teams, and he still is
yeah,
averaging almost 9 yards a carry against the Roosters defense that we think is very formidable. I think that's
yeah.
just a testament to how good Christian Powell is. So good they ripped his jersey off and he had to put on number 23, baby.
Same
Had to go
thing.
take somebody's jersey. Had to go take it. You got any more 2 stars? I got like one more 2 star.
um, man, I thought I had one more person that was 2 star. The running back, Pardon and little brother Pardon. I
Young
gave him
Lossy,
two
young
stars too.
Lossy.
Young Lassie, yeah, I gave Young Lassie too because he had a nice rush. I mean, him he had a nice. I say he hit when he needed to hit. I don't expect 50, 60 yard runs from him, but I do, expect some hard, tough runs. And he actually kept a lot of their drives going. So
Yeah,
I gave him a 2 star for that too.
yeah. He had 15 carries, 43 yards, and one touchdown. But like you said, he had a lot of like tough runs that were unexpected for him to be getting those tough runs. If anything, guy, I'm going to throw out there for 2 stars. Zach Wright, defensive back. I don't know his
Yeah,
stats. Let me
yeah.
read his stats real quick because
He had a he
again,
had a he had an interception. He had a forced fumble, interception, forced fumble, and I want to say he recovered the fumble if I'm not mistaken, but I know for
so
sure he had an interception in the force.
they don't have him down for interception. They have him down for fumble recovery. I think when the receiver caught it and then gave it to him, that was a fumble recovery.
They call it a fumble recovery. Yeah, it should have been
Yeah,
interception.
and he did have the forced fumble. He's the one that ripped it from Bryce Nunnally's hands.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that makes sense there. And then they got him for a PBU in here, but he only has 3.5 tackles. See, now that don't seem right to me because all I'm saying, I just seen number 0 finishing a lot of like plays, like outside of the forced fumble interception, outside of the DB stuff. He was actively like making tackles in this game. That's what I noticed. That's why I gave him 2 stars. I feel like they might have took a couple tackles from him if he only had 3.5. I feel like he was closer to like 6 tackles in this game, like important tackles at that. I don't think I have any more 2 stars. Let's go three
What
stars,
was
man.
Harris' status? I have to say, what was Harris' status? Linebacker for the
Harris,
Roosters. Harry.
linebacker for the
Harriet?
Roos.
Harry? How you say his
Uh,
last name?
I thought his name.
Harriet.
Well,
All right.
I don't want to. Let me look it up before I say. It. Yeah,
My
Harriet.
eyes getting bad or something,
Yeah,
man. But Harriet.
yeah. I think yeah, Harriet. I don't know how to. It's got 2 R's and 2 T's. So I don't know if it's Harriet or Harriet. It's tough. But
Yeah. Somebody help
number
us
eight,
out.
right? Any number 8.
Yeah.
That's I'm gonna call him number 8. Number 8 he had 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss.
Yeah. And a
He was
touchdown.
active.
And I believe it. Yeah, I
Oh,
think he got a rushing touchdown. Too.
I think he did have a rushing touchdown. Yeah, he had that 1 yard or 2 yarder or 1 yarder. He has 2 rushes for
Yeah.
3 yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Someone else I should have put in there. Sorry, Oko, Oko Otanen. He
Yeah.
has 6 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 1 sack. He finally got a sack like later in the game, but he was in there all day. Like
Yeah.
he was wrecking havoc and putting a lot of pressure on their quarterback, and I like to see that. So I would have gave him 2 stars for sure because he was out there. Uh, 3 stars. Who you got?
The one and only the best receiver in the
You
league
said it.
right now. The
You
one and
said it.
only 3 star for me this week is Bryce Nunley. Bryce, Bryce Nunley put
That was
on a
amazing.
show.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Let me
he
get
had
his
a
stats.
yeah,
10 receptions, 204 yards, 1 touchdown. And then just to add this in there, his yak, because they keeping yak now, was 110 yards. He had more yak than he had catching yards. Or more than
yeah.
half of his yards was yak.
Bryce Nunley, hands down 3 star performance. Made a play, kept them in the game, um, gave him a chance. You know what I'm saying? Gave them a chance. He
Yeah,
really put them in position a lot of times to make sure they stayed, in close proximity to win the game. So 3-star performance. Shout out to Bryce Young, man, for showing up.
yeah, definitely. Um, that was, I think that was the only 3 star I was gonna have too. 'Cause I had the running backs on there. But I probably should have gave 2 stars, but I forgot, so I'm gonna give this guy 3 stars. Uh, Noah Choate from the Scorpio Steelers. He had 3 catches, 2 of them were touchdowns, 50 yards. Not a huge stat packer, but for the for the aura doing the celebration on the boat, I mean, for that you get 3 stars, my man, because he was out there doing his thing. And it was good to see. Good to see him out there
Yeah.
doing his thing. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for all the stars. Let me check real quick because we actually we're supposed to have somebody hop on today, but I don't know if he's on here or not. Let me see. Give me 1 second. All right. Well, we'll go to a quick break, and I guess we can do win or loss until he does get here. No problem. All right, let's get into win or loss. We know technically who won last weekend's games, but let's explain who we think won or lost the games. And I guess, yeah, let's just start with the big one. Uh, Porvoo Butchers versus Helsinki Roosters. Oh, hold on. Should we do the interview
Yo,
before or after? I think he said he's ready.
let's do it now. We might as well do it now.
Okay, well, we got to
Oh,
wait until
after
he
you mean
says he's
after the
ready.
game? Oh, okay. You saying
Yeah,
after
after
we
we
do their
talk
game?
about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
let's talk it first and then we'll let him in. Okay. So what we'll do is yeah, I want to hear your, thoughts on it cuz I want to hear what you got to say about it. Did the Roosters lose or did the Butchers win?
I mean, I'm not being biased. Not being biased. Obviously, I picked the Roosters to win this game because I just felt like this was the best matchup that the Butchers are probably going to have this year, and I felt like maybe they had a better chance of pulling it off, even though they was in Porvoo. But I do feel like the Roosters lost this game. I mean, they had 4 turnovers. Um, Crucial one when it was 18-21. Ambro threw
Mm,
threw the pick on the Jalen Todd, and you just gotta be careful with the ball, man. You gotta be careful with the ball in that situation. If anybody, if you going through your reads, sometimes you gotta look linebackers off, and he didn't look him off, and he baited him, got the pick. They scored right after that, so it kind of put him up in the lead even more up. Um, but I just think 4 turnovers and only lose by 2 points. Yes, they scored later in the game and it kind of, did that. But they had those turnovers in the fourth quarter, I believe, in the second half. Like three turnovers in the second half. So you just can't do that against a team like the Butchers. They're gonna put you away. You know what I mean? They're gonna make the play that need. Like you said, they couldn't stop Christian Powell anyway. So just to give them the ball back, in half field position, it just put them in a real bad spot. The Roosters fumbling in the red zone on the one that Zach Wright caught, that was crucial. That was real crucial. But I still believe that they had opportunities. I think if you finish those drives, whether they field goals or touchdowns, I still think you put yourself in a better situation. And I know the Roosters are probably feeling like they should have won that game. It's a difference when the team beats you. But let's be honest, the Butchers only scored 1 touchdown in the second half. Well, 2 touchdowns in the second half. 2 touchdowns in the second half, and they started off hot early in the first half, and it was all the
yeah.
Butchers. But I think the Roosters adjusted pretty well in the second to give themselves a chance. But just too many turnovers at the wrong time, not finishing drives. So I don't want to take away from the Butchers playing defense. But compared to what the Butchers have been doing to everybody else, for them to come out of this game, even if you don't want to count the late touchdowns, is saying that they had a chance. But at the end of the day, the pick that Jalen Todd got, you know what I'm saying, that pretty much helped seal the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you think about it, if you're in a game and it gets all the way to the fourth quarter and one or two plays can cost you the game. So I personally think the Roosters lost that game because the Butchers, um, I think we've seen everything that they can do. You know, running the ball, Aaron B. They had a great game. Um, uh, just the zone read, they were running him on the move. That's a lot to deal with. Honestly, that's a lot to deal with, and I still feel like the Roosters had a chance to win it. They just didn't make the plays when they needed to. That's what happens when you have a younger team. But then the Butchers are so solid on defense and
Hmm.
so solid on offense. They're going to make you pay for having turnovers like that, and that's what they did. But I really feel like that was a good game to watch. It was very intense, and even the Butchers getting the field goal right before halftime. Missing the field goal right before halftime.
Missing
So
it.
it
They
was a lot
missed
of
it. Yeah.
it was yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that that could have put the game either way. But I just felt like the Roosters had too many mistakes at the wrong time, and the Butchers won. I mean, I ain't gonna take it away from them, but I can't wait to see these two teams play again next time. But I definitely feel like the Roosters lost.
I respectfully disagree with you, but you do make a good case for how the Roosters could have won. But I'll make my case for why the Butchers did win the game is one thing that maybe you know what I'm so glad that we're on this show and we're able to speak our minds because let's just keep it a buck. Neither one of these teams played their best game. That's why
Yeah,
we're excited
yeah,
to play. There was a lot of points left on the board by the Roosters, but also by the Butchers. And I think that's where, for me, they won the game because neither team played great, but they still played better. It was a game where, in my opinion, it was 21-10 in the third quarter. 21-10. Butchers kick it off. Not only get stripped. If the Butchers score and go up 28-10, this game is over. And what happens on 4th and 4? They don't convert. Those are left points right there. The game would have been over, I think, in the third quarter if the Butchers put up a field goal there, but they had missed one right before half, so they don't go for the field goal here. And because of that, it's only 21-10. We get all the way into the fourth quarter, it's still 21-10. The Butchers have had chances to score on a kickoff return where they stripped the ball, got in the red zone, didn't score. The ball that was fumbled to right in the red zone that stopped the score, they didn't score on offense on the following drive. That's two opportunities to score points that you don't. Now, when Todd got the interception at the end of the game, when they needed it, 21-18, they needed to stop it because the Roosters had just scored and momentum was on their side. The drive before, Oko finished the drive with a sack, a big time sack on third down, forced the Butchers to punt, and then the Roosters go down and score. Now it's 21-18. At that point, the game is tied. It's up to whichever team wants to win it. And when it came down to game on the line, you can go up and win this game. Roosters score a touchdown, they go up. They're down 21-18. What happens? Todd gets an interception. And at this point, the Butchers have I ain't gonna curse, but they done effed off a couple opportunities to score. And they still have one more opportunity. And instead of effing off this last one, they step up. Christian Powell scores a touchdown. They go ahead. And you think, and I'm thinking it's 28-18 with 2 minutes left. Okay, that's game. 10 points, you can't do it. But the Roosters do a good job, drive down, but they spend all 2 minutes to score 8 points. And what I want to throw out there about the misconception that maybe the Roosters had a chance to win or were in this game. Hold on, I got a train coming by. It was again 21-10. I feel like that was the score of the game. Because from that point on, they were playing two different types of football. It looked like the Butchers were just trying to get out of there, and the Rooster were just trying to pad stats because they only scored two more touchdowns. So in the when it was 21-10 in the fourth quarter, Rooster scored twice, Butcher scored once because they were winning. That's all that happened. But the Butcher scored 16 points by going for two twice and converting. So that's 4 extra points on the score that makes it look a lot closer than the game was. They really were 2 scores behind the whole game and never overcame it. Even though both teams gave away too many turnovers, and actually Butchers didn't do turnovers, they just didn't score. The Roosters defense, I think, played better than the Butchers defense. But the Roosters offense gave away the ball more than the Butchers offense did. That's what it came down to. Like they made more mistakes than the Butchers in a game that both teams made a lot of mistakes. That's why the stats were so crazy for somebody like Bryce Nunnally and even Christian Powell. Like they had these like inflated stats because neither team was really stopping the other team. Both offenses, you could look at their offense. Both of these teams left this game and said, we can do better, or we left something out there, or we're going to do way better going forward from this game. And out of those I wouldn't say bad performances, but two performances of not playing up to what you are, what your potential is, the Butchers played a little bit better in this one. I know I'm kind of downplaying how good the game was to watch. It still was really entertaining and fun to watch, but both of these teams are better than what they played. I think that I would give the Butchers the win because they just played a better, worse game than the other team. But like you said, I'm very eager to see these two teams play again later, and they're in different divisions, so we don't get a rematch unless it's the playoffs. So that's going to be very interesting going forward because that's all we're going to get is a rematch for the playoffs. I think we did it. That was the one important game. Anything else you want to throw in there about that game, that matchup, before we get into the
No,
interview?
it was just one thing I will say. What I've noticed about the Butchers, all of their imports are pretty much showing up in the games, and that's what
Yeah,
you want. They consistently showing up in the game on both sides of the ball, and anytime that happens, you can give yourself a big chance to win. Zach Wright, Jalen Todd, great combo, on defense, and then you got Robitaille, Aaron B. Just guys that's giving 100% effort every time they out there. And that's what you want. The Roosters, um, linebacker Harriet, he's been all over the place. So I was impressed with his play. But the safety for the Roosters, I need to see a little more crunch time plays.
Orton.
Crunch
Okay,
time,
with
yeah.
Orton.
Like
Yeah,
I need to see him make a lot of more crunch time plays. He's got to help out in that pass game some kind of way,
yeah,
especially against a team like the Butchers. You got to be able to make plays that turn the game, not just tackles after somebody catch the ball or something like that, or saving touchdowns. You got to be able to make a play that's going to turn the game around and give your defense a chance. So I'm sure he's doing what he can and doing what he do, but just based off of what I'm seeing, definitely have to step up in that area of just making plays. It's just like, not to compare him to Zach Wright. Obviously, Zach Wright is in a league of his own, but you want that
yeah.
type of effect. You want your imports to be a part of all the games, and that's just something to look forward to. But other than that, yeah, it was a great game to watch.
Yeah, definitely. So we actually have one of the players from the Portland Butchers here with us. Nate Robitaille is going to come on and talk to us a little bit about the last game and maybe the upcoming game. I'm not sure. We'll definitely talk about the last game with him real quick. All right. Hello, Mr. Nate Robitaille. Welcome to the AFF podcast, man.
What's up? You guys can hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
Good. Yes, sir. Good. I'm doing good, man. What's up?
what's going on?
Nothing. Yeah.
Just kicking it.
So, yeah, tell us a little bit. We don't really have like specific questions. We kind of just talk to you here. But tell us how it's been for you in Porvu so far. I mean, we didn't do a preseason thing, so let's catch up a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
No,
How do you like the organization and team and stuff going on so far?
it's been fun. It's definitely a little different than the ELF coming from how they want to run things up there. But I mean, coming back to Finland's pretty cool. Coming back to Porvu, a little bit different than Saint Aoki, and being next to Helsinki's cool too because there's a little bit more people, a little more things to do. But everything is in its place for places that I've been. So Porvu is just kind of that right niche for me right now in the realm of my life. So everything's going good here.
My
The only thing that's crazy is that people in Finland, I guess, when they're driving, they come from the right. You gotta let them go, and they don't even look. They just come flying out of there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In Sanayoki, everyone's just riding bikes, so you don't really have that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that major
Other than
highway.
that, it's different. Hey, you
Yeah.
want yeah. Be
I,
nosy
I did want to
and
ask you.
beat it being nosy.
I did want to ask you. I mean, I know you brought up the ELF.
Yeah.
But what made you not go back to the ELF? I mean, you was out there on a tear,
Yeah.
man. What made you not want to go back to that?
So so for me, it was just something where I've accomplished a lot of things that in Europe as it is for now. So for me to go there, it was something that I really wasn't thinking about. And to be honest, I really wasn't getting much kind of info back from teams and people. I mean, going from Ryan Fire then straight down to the Enthroners is a different. I started to see European football and the European League of Football differently. How if you're not in mainstay Central Europe and with those main
Mhm.
teams, you're kind of forgotten about.
Mm,
So even with that being said, I mean, it was something where I really wasn't pushing to kind of get back in the ELF. I mean, of course, you do your due diligence as an import, and if you want to keep playing, you reach out to everybody that you know. So I did my due diligence, but a lot of stuff was these new imports, and you see all of them are getting sent home, and all of them are getting injured and stuff like that. So have teams reached out this season in the ELF for my services? Definitely, but I'm always true to where I'm at and what I'm doing. So, I mean, a big reason why I came to Finland was Christian Powell. Obviously, everyone knows that. See, me and CP played back in 2020 and 2021. So, I mean, my big thing is to just it was cool. We talked about it in the past to play together and be on the same team again, but on the same side of the ball, which guys are starting to see now, which is cool. But I want to get him a ring, dog. That's my goal is to get my dog a ring.
yeah.
That should be everybody's goal. So
Yeah.
let's get a little bit back into this season. You guys just played against the Roosters, and we just discussed it. I think you heard us talking about it. What was your kind of takeaway from that game that you guys played, and how it all went down?
It's kind of like what you guys said. I mean, it never felt like we were losing it, but we definitely left a lot of stuff on the field as the day. I mean, it was a back and forth game. I from a fan's perspective, you'd probably say that was a great game to watch, just because it was
Mhm.
kind of close and there was a little drama. But as a football fanatic, as I am, you look at it and you're like, damn, that was sloppy. Damn,
Mhm.
that play was sloppy. There was a lot of stuff left on the field on both sides. I mean, we just as a when your defense can hold the team down to 20 points less than that. I mean, you should win the game on offense, especially with all the firepower we have. So just to only have 20, how many 28 points we had?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
think
think I had
yeah,
28.
28 points, and then watching the film back and saying, "Damn, we had this. Damn, we had that," and that's I mean, it's welcome to European football, right? You're going to get crazy calls some games. The offensive PI where I run that route and the guy calls me for. I asked him. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And he said, "You were blocking downfield." I said, "I was running a route. I'm not blocking it. I've been playing this game for a long time. I know the difference between running a route and blocking." So, but I mean, we just when you watch the film back, you say, "But damn, you wish you could have some of those plays back." But I mean, that's football, right? And you got to keep rolling.
Yeah.
Who's the
King,
my,
go ahead.
my question is obviously you got Christian Aaron you know,
Yep.
as your quarterback, mobile, can throw, he can do pretty much everything. And this is just a funny thing I want to ask. Who's the number one receiver?
Who's the number one receiver? I mean, me. Yeah, I mean, you got it. You ready? If you're if you're if you're a guy and you want to be and you want to put yourself out there, I mean, I would want any of the five guys that we have, which make up our core group, which is tight. All of them should say the same thing. Me. We can go down the list of everybody that we have from Miko to Mickey to even the backup guys, Fung and Lucas. I mean, all those guys, they complement each other so well. Even though we are the shortest, I would say probably the shortest receiving crew I've ever played
Yeah,
with.
how tall are you? How
me,
tall are you,
me,
Nate?
I'm 6'1".
and you're the tallest. You would have to be the tallest.
Yeah,
Everyone else is like 5'9".
yeah. So this is the shortest. This is the shortest crew I've ever played with. The tallest one I ever played with, I had 6'8", 6'5", 6'3", and then me, and that was in
Because
Swabish Hall.
I'm just saying. I mean, I
But
might be taller than some of your receivers.
yeah,
God, that's
but
crazy.
they make up for it with experience, one grit, and then obviously you have Lucas on the outside who just he's a burner. But to answer your question flat out, I mean, you got to say yourself. I would have anybody else that you asked that to, you got to say yourself.
You know what's surprising too is you're I mean no disrespect, Nate, but
I know,
you've been
I know,
around for a long time.
and you're old and you're slow, and I get it.
Yeah, but you're not. Like
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to say, like, no disrespect, but like I've been watching, and I mean you move very quick. Very, I
Yeah,
could say fast. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah.
I
I
know that when I'm watching you, you eat up yards
yeah,
very
quick.
quickly with your stride,
Yeah,
and at your age, that's unexpected, but it also is very dangerous for a team to have to prepare for your team, because
yeah.
we've said it for the last couple of years, ever since young Erla hopped on the scene. It's like, okay, you got to watch him because he can always take the top off, and you don't have anybody that can run with him.
No.
But adding you to the mix, it's a scary deception. 'Cause I don't think a lot of people notice that. I mean, y'all might be toe for toe speed wise.
Oh yeah.
I
I mean,
don't. I don't
I
know.
was I was a 4.4 guy all the way through. I mean, probably not now. I'm 32 years old.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like on the field is a little bit different. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think the youngsters probably are always going to win that like straight 40,
yeah.
especially Lucas, because he has that straight speed. But
Game speed's a little
running
different.
game speed, running routes, getting
Yeah,
into windows, in and out of your breaks,
yeah,
you're moving. And
yeah.
that's got to be trouble because he's moving, you're moving. Most teams don't have three guys that can guard you too.
No.
So then what do you do? And again, obviously, Miko and Mickey are always in the mix, but I'm sorry, but if I have you two guys coming at me, those are my main concerns. And after that, I'm just like, I just hope we don't get killed. And yet,
Yeah.
y'all both are still very successful, and I think you complement each other well. Very interesting dynamic y'all have. I think it makes y'all. Can I say this, Q? Does it make y'all the best receiving core in Finland? I was yeah. We every year we like go back and forth about who has the best receiving core. I
Yeah.
think the Butchers have the best one.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, he's Lucas is a it's different. Everyone said how fast he was, and I didn't. I was just trying to see because I mean I'm a football savant, so I'm looking at him,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until practice when we had our first practice on our game field, and he caught a snag route, just sitting down around like 7 yards. He caught it
And he
in
got out.
traffic. Yeah, caught it in traffic, and then it was 3 steps, and he was already down the sideline. I said, "What?" I said, "That's different." I
Yeah,
said, "We got to." I said, "We got to get this kid overseas, back overseas, and get some college scouts because that's different."
I I like Lucas. Every time I see Lucas, I always think, man, I wish he would play when I played because I would have hit him in the back of his ankle and he would have been done for the season. It wouldn't have been no plan. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to come out here and embarrass me with all them
Uh,
jets.
nah,
He's
he's
a
fast.
generational talent out there. He's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
good at that.
yeah. He can pick him up, put
Last
him
question.
down.
Yeah, last question. We'll let you get out of here. We don't try to take too much of your time.
Yeah, no
You
worries.
guys have coming up. You have Tampa the Saints.
Yep.
After this, I will say it was a tough game against the Roosters. I
Oh,
mean,
it was.
there were
No, it
some things,
was.
so it was a tough game. So
It was.
after this game, you had a bounce back game against a team that's in the cellar of the league. This is what we call a trap game.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously, what is it? It's Monday, so y'all might maybe haven't done like a lot of like film study or anything. You're actually about to go to practice,
Yeah.
but going into this game, what do you think are some things you
Excuse me.
guys are going to work on, especially on the offensive side, to clean up and make sure that you do what you got to do against these guys?
I think one big thing we've been harping on the last couple of weeks is our procedure. I mean, how many penalties did we have on offense the last game and throughout the season? So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, definitely one is going to be procedure, and then two, like you said, it's a trap game. I know from my mindset and also Christian Powell and some of the leaders on the team, that's not even a thought. Like
Mm-hmm.
if that ever turns into a thought or you start to see it on the field, that gets squashed really fast just from being kind of an old head in football. But a team like Tampa Bay, I mean, you watch them on film, and like you said, it's at the end of the day, it is what it is. They're where they're at. Now, is it for lack of players, lack of coaching? I mean, it's European football. I've been in here for 10 years, so I know mostly about how things run. But you can't take anybody lightly. That's why you play the game. I mean, you could be the New England Patriots and come out here and play somebody, but you still got to play the game. So that's the main thing about this is playing the game against Tampa Bay and just I think putting on film stuff that we haven't done yet and stuff that we
Mhm.
need to work on and just calling these different plays and seeing how they actually work in a game setting. And if we got this coverage, calling our plays to see if this actually does kind of like our bread and butter instead
Mhm.
of just kind of willy nilly trying to just all right, we're just going to blow them out and that's what it is. No, let's actually play this game and like every game, play it and put stuff on film so we can get better at what we need to get better at, leading it up to hopefully the playoffs and then, I mean, obviously get my boy CP a ring, so the championship.
All right. Well, appreciate you, Nate. Thank you for coming on the show. We'll let you get out of here. No, you got to get into practice.
Yeah, always.
Good luck to you guys this weekend. Q, you got anything for them before we get out of here?
Nah, tell Rojo I said what's up, man. That's about it, man.
I will. No, that's my guy. I love Coach Rowe. He's what does he call me? He calls me old school
Mm.
Cadillac. He calls me old school. I wrote the nickname is Rolls Royce Roby, so that's what it is.
Rolls Royce That's a mouthful.
That's nice.
Rolls Royce Roby Rolls Royce. Yeah, but all right, Nate. We appreciate you, man. Have a
Yeah,
good day.
appreciate you guys. Ciao.
All right. Now back to the real action. That was fun. All right, we're back to our win or loss, and we can go much quicker now because we went over the tough game. Why am I on this side of the screen? I don't like to be on.
Look, look it up.
To make sure I'm on the right side. Um. So next game, win or loss, we got Kuopio Steelers versus Tampa the Saints. Who won or lost this one for you?
Scorpio Steelers won the game. Like I said earlier, Ethan Greenfield, big running game. Even the quarterback had a real nice game too. He spread the ball around nice. Giving the ball, Noah Choate, Quicker, number 7. Um, they moved the ball around a lot. Madeline is I think now moving his team forward and trying to get that offense to be basically balanced. It's something that they I think they're progressing real well. I think right now
Yeah,
Scorpio has a lot of space to get better. I think I said that last week. I think Scorpio has a lot of space to get better offensively because now the more guys touch the ball, the more they can score. More confidence they get. And just like the Butchers, I don't want to compare their skill players or their offense, but the Steelers have enough guys to where it'll be hard to match up against them too.
yeah,
Offensively. So I think I like what I've seen from them. And then Ethan Greenfield is just that. Like, they pass, and then they hit you with the screen, and Ethan Greenfield do his thing. So I think Corpio's offense is now turning into its own, and
mhm,
we're really seeing their identity. And it was just a good game for them. I don't think they really struggled at any part of this game. It was just
no,
like, all right, let's make all the plays we need to make. Let's execute. And that's something they did well, and they had a good game.
yeah. I agree with you. Steelers definitely won. I wrote in my notes what 20-0 in the second quarter, so I got to turn that thing off. That's always good. I'm not trying to watch a whole bunch of these blowouts, but I do. I'm not going to speak on the Steelers as much because you said everything that needed to be said. But I'm going to speak on the Saints a little bit. I because I'm looking at the Saints and I'm watching the Saints, and I still remember, we were high on them going into the season. I'm jumping off that boat, but even when I'm watching this game, where I mean they're gonna lose this game. I know they're gonna lose. I can see they're gonna lose, and watching how they lose, they're not a bad team. They're not like a piss poor team or they just shouldn't be there. Like it's not like again, this is not the UNC or Loyola Crusaders, who I believe never should have been in the Maple League. This is a team that isn't ready for the teams that they're playing against, but it's still a team. And when I look at the Saints, I see a team full of like good players. I don't see anybody great. I don't see anyone stepping up and making you focus on that player. And I think that is probably the difference between them and almost every other team in the Maple League. We can go through all the other 7 teams, and we can name 3 or 4 players that, okay, if this person gets the ball or if this person's on defense, they're going to be able to make a play. And then even when you look across the ball and they're playing the Steelers, you start saying, like Quika, Cho, Greenfield, and then you can even flip it to the defensive side. Hold up, who are they playing on defense? A little more average, but uh,
Callahan.
Callahan. There you go. Yeah, Callahan, Sale, the DN, Pekkarinen. Only reason I don't remember the names this time, guys, is because the game was over so early. I mean, they didn't have to do a lot. Like they normally had to work a little bit, and I remember the names. But in this game, it was over so early. All I remember is Choate doing the celebration, and that was the greatest thing. But when you look at the Saints, I can't. I can't honestly name you a guy who I'm like, he's gonna be able to do it. I mean, Jesse Robbins is probably the best offensive threat they have, but
Oh, sure.
even him playing at the quarterback position, he hasn't put the team on his back at any point. I can't look at any drives and say, that was all him. I think for the Saints, they've won and gotten to where they are with a team mentality. They're really like close knit team. Everybody plays their roles, and I think that's great for the sport of football. But I also think that you got to play against your competition. Maple League is a kind of high intensity league. Like we got stars out here. I say that, yeah, I mean that. Anybody from outside coming in when they come into play in the Maple League, most people had the same reaction. Like, this league is much better than I thought, talent wise. And that's where I feel like the Saints are lacking just a little bit is they have good players. They have a lot of, I think, well, not I think, I know they have a decent amount of players who are either junior or men's national team players, and they're very team oriented, but they don't have any dogs. There's nobody that you can look at and say, he's going to go get it or he's gonna make this happen. And that's gonna be a problem because everybody they play has somebody like that. And that's what you saw against the Steelers. The Steelers offense hasn't been like, clicking all season. But when you put them in a situation where someone needs to make a play, they got players that'll make a play. And I feel like the Saints they haven't got there yet. So that's all I'm gonna say about it. But I'm hoping that they either somebody steps up or they bring in someone new or something. I don't know, but I think they'll
They
figure it
need
out
help.
as a
They
team
need help.
organization.
Definitely,
They need help.
definitely need
Yeah.
help. Yeah, yeah. Because it's that it's the first it's that year back in the Maple League, and
Hmm.
you seeing now what you're missing, and
Yeah.
a lot of times if you just watch them, it's just inexperience, tackling. It's like the small things, real small things. It's not like a lot of times they're just getting, so okay, some plays are just getting beat, but then it's sometimes like pass plays, the guy's there, he's just not making a play on the ball. They're
Hmm.
getting a one on one. You got opportunity to make tackles, and three guys missed the tackle, and then now they score. So
You're
it's
right
like
about
it's like the,
tackling.
yeah, it's like the small stuff that you just absolutely can't let happen all the time because you're going to find yourself in a hole all the time. And like you say, Jesse Roberts, he's the best, player I could pretty much say on the team. And it's like he can only do so much. Um,
And I
and
think he
I
got hurt
hope
in
that
this game
they,
too.
yeah, I hope they, try to somewhat like I would like to see him. I know it's early in the season. I'd like to see him come back with a little more help with
Mm.
that team because I know he liked the organization. But the Saints always been, a team organization, and they just scrappy, and they might not have had, the best players all the time, but they go out and they try, man. They ain't quit. They not laying down. They just aren't making the plays enough. So
Hmm.
yeah, but it was a tough game for them. But we'll see how the rest of the season goes.
Yeah, for sure. Next game we got win or loss. Helsinki Wolverines played against the San Diego Crocodiles. Who won or lost this one for you?
San Diego Crocodiles won the game. Deontay Sip,
Like
whew,
800 yards
lot,
rushing.
yeah, a lot to deal with, man. A lot to deal with. I think he got his first little taste of. It's probably his first taste of the Velodrome too. So he probably would
Mm.
have had about 300 yards rushing if he wouldn't have slipped on one of the plays. So,
Oh yeah, he did
uh,
slow. He did
yeah,
slow.
yeah. Welcome to the velodrome, Mr. Sip. That it happens to the best of us. It doesn't happen to all of us, but
Yeah.
yeah. The Crocs, had a pretty much strong game on the rushing, and passing. Well, we said Vernon doing his thing in the passing game, and just not hitting big. You know what I'm saying? But he was slashing and gashing, and that helped them out a lot. And like you say, the Wolverines' offense isn't that great, isn't even good at this point. So the Crocs, the confidence gets there when you're not really worried about another team scoring. And yeah, the Crocs won fast. So there ain't much to say about this game. They did what they were supposed to do. You
I'm
might
gonna.
feel
I,
different.
I agree with you.
I don't know
I
why. I
agree
don't
with you.
know where you're gonna get your take from, but I want to hear it. I gotta hear
I
this.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I gotta go the opposite way in this game just because I'm watching the game, and I guess I can say that the Crocodiles won, and I still feel like they were going to win no matter what happened. But the Wolverines defense played a hell of a game. Now, I can't speak on how Sip got so many yards because he did a great job. But I never in this game, it was it was 12-0 at half, and 6 of them points came from a pick six. And
Mhm.
the pick six was after the defense stopped the Crocodiles. Like the defense held tight and got the ball back for the offense. Offense in their own red zone throws a pick six, and now instead of you being down 6-0 and punting the ball to them and them having to drive the field, you're down 12-0 and you're back on the field as a defense. And they still didn't give up any more points. Still only 12-0 at half. It was 20-0 in the fourth quarter, meaning they only had what? They only gave up 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and they were out of it. It was already over. You knew they weren't going to win. They lost that game because they refused to upgrade their offense, and it pisses me off because it's one of those situations where this defense has gotten better in the last 3 years that I've seen them. They've gotten better. They have a lot of youngsters. Alvin Reels is leading them. He got an interception. What did he do? He tipped the ball to himself to get an interception in this game and then ran it for a little bit. Like, how much more can this team do defensively? If that defense don't score, they can't win. That's crazy because their offense is not giving them a chance to win. And I'm not going to say it's the quarterback, but you know what it is. It ain't not the quarterback.
Yeah.
And
Can't
to
throw the
add
ball
to
to the
come,
other team.
yeah,
Can't just throw
and
the ball to the other team. Like, you gotta. It's like the pick six was. I'm just like, okay, you roll it. Like for one, why are you putting him in a situation where he's rolling to his left? Like
they
it's
do that a
just.
lot. A lot of times he's going to his left, throwing the ball, and I don't know why. And
Yeah.
the and just to focus back on that first pick six, you're in your own red zone. That sucks. Second pick, you're in their red zone. The offense was actually at a point where it was could get points. And again, like I said earlier, Sebastian Lagoria playing running back, he had a good game. They were able to move the ball by running it, yet they decided to pass. And now you have an interception that you could have at least got a field goal out of it, right? If you don't throw that interception, you at least hope that you can. That's at least 3 points. And the Crocodiles actually go down and score after that. So now you're down 20-0 in the fourth quarter. And what are you going to do? You got to keep throwing now. You have to. And now you're putting it on your quarterback to win you a game, and he can't win you a game. And to add more problems on top of more problems, I don't know who number one is. I hope he's not a junior, but he might be. So I ain't gonna say, and I'm not gonna look up his name. Cause I don't want to put him out there like that. But you can't be playing receiver out there if you're afraid to go across the hashes. The number one receiver, he dropped like 3 passes. One of them, literally, he was running like a slant or a stop or something, and he stopped his feet short, threw his arms out, and didn't catch it. And there was nobody around him to actually hit him. and he did that like twice. And so your quarterback is not great. And then when he does make a good throw,
Excuse
the guy he's throwing to doesn't want to catch it. How can you go into a game with that mindset, those players, and expect to win? I think if I'm a defensive player for the Helsinki Wolverines, y'all need to have a players only meeting and get shit right. Because I can stand on this and I mean this. That defense is good enough to win games in the Maple League. The defense is good enough to win games.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
Offense,
so. Yeah.
yeah,
They just don't have an
defense.
offense.
If your defense is good enough to win games, your offense should do what it has to do to help them get there. And they did not do this in this game. And I know Youngblood didn't dress out, but that did not make nearly as much of a difference as you want to say. Maybe that's
Yeah.
why they were throwing it to the number one kid. But I really don't care. This game was winnable, and they lost it because they refuse to get their offense right. And all they have to do is get it right. And I think that they're trying to rely on like what happened last year, where towards the end of the season, Will Young and was it Chris Adams was the receiver. They just came on really strong at the end of the season and they won a couple of games. That might not be the case this year. You might not have that kind of like kinetic energy that works out for you. And again, a lot of luck. But they got to do something about that offense because it's getting ridiculous that these guys are playing such good defense and nobody's going to remember it because the scoreboard is so bad. What was the score of this game?
It ended up being like what, 30 something?
Yeah, like
30
again,
something? Somewhere up
when I
there.
stopped, I think I watched the whole thing. No, it was 20-0 in the fourth. That's when I stopped watching. I knew the game was over. Again, once you get down three scores, I ain't watching it. But when it was 20-0 in this game, it should have been what 13-0, 14-0 maybe. It should have been 14-0. But with the 14-0, easily you could have said that they should have at least been able to have one touchdown and it'd be 14-6, 14-8, something like that. So a one score game in the fourth quarter, Crocodiles would have played it much differently. And they also would have been able to play it much differently. But when it was 20-0, both teams knew it was over. So you didn't give your team a chance. And that's what the Wolverines are doing anytime they step on that field, knowing that their offense is not going to score any points. I understand if you're like, okay, we might not score a lot, but you're saying if your defense shuts that other team out, eventually they're going to have to play so many reps that the other team scores. And that's why I think after it was 20-0, anything that the Crocodiles scored after that, I blame on fatigue. You can't be on the field all goddamn day. And that's any
Yeah.
defense. You know that, Q.
That's
You can't just
everybody.
keep being on
Yeah.
the field. Eventually it's going to give out. That's why you need points to force the other team to take their time somewhere. But they're not playing complimentary football and it's just getting sad. But I'm going to stop ranting on it. We'll get into this upcoming games now. I'll leave them alone. All right. Maple League teams back in action. Thursday, we have the Helsinki Derby. Helsinki Roosters take on the Helsinki Wolverines. And then we have the Tampa Saints and Porvoo Butchers on Friday. And the doubleheader Saturday is Wausau Royals versus Quabbia Steelers in the morning, followed by Senyoki Crocodiles and East City Giants for the primetime game. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about each one of these matchups. First game, Helsinki Derby. What's an interesting storyline question you got for this one?
Um, more so how the Roosters gonna bounce back from a loss like that. Close game to me anyway. How they gonna bounce back? The Wolverines, like I said, they got a lot of guys on defense that aren't afraid to play. And the one thing that the Roosters can't do is come into this game and play down. But at the same time, I feel like the defensive line of the Roosters is going to be too much for Wolverines' offensive line. So I think it's going to get ugly real soon, real fast, real quick because they just lost and they trying to get that pressure off on somebody else. And who better to get it off on than your little brother? So it's
Yeah.
just it's just it's just the Wolverines. It sucks that y'all got to play them at the loss. But I do think the Roosters they'll work on the things that they need to work on. I think they'll probably work more on the running game and try to get that game going. I did see Santu playing a lot of like tight end in that area, like
Hmm.
we were talking about before. I like him down there blocking. He had a nice block on one of the screens too.
Yeah, he did.
So I think this is a game that you try to get, a lot of passes to him over the middle. You try to start working him getting the ball against linebackers, against those safeties. I think this is a game that they should probably try to work on that and the running game. Anthony Reddick, I'm not sure if he's going to play this game, but if he
Hmm.
does, that's going to be a good opportunity to try to fit him into the offense and get him acquainted with the offense. But yeah, I don't foresee it being a close game or anything like that. And if it is, it'll probably be the first quarter or the first half. If it is. But I just think the Roosters are just too much. They got too much firepower for the Wolverines to really have a chance.
Yeah, I feel like ignore everything I just said about the Wolverines defense for this one because it ain't. I don't think it's gonna be that type of show. I think the Roosters.
Yeah,
I mean, like you said, the Roosters just came off a loss where they could honestly feel like we should have won. We should have played better. There was points left out there, and now they're going to play against little brother. You don't leave no points out there. There's going to be no crumbs. They're going to come
they're gonna
out
run the score
and
up.
yeah, and also this is a game they probably have circled on the schedule as this is when our youngsters get in the second half. So that's what they got to do. They got to go out there, put it on them early, and then let their U19 guys get the reps against probably other U19 guys for Wolverines that are starters, and that's fine. I just think that's exactly how it's going to go. I do like to agree with you about what you said about the defensive line from the Roosters against the offensive line from the Wolverines. Obviously the Wolverines have other issues on offense, but this will be a major thing. Is if they can't if they can't run, then it's over. And I think that's what they're gonna have to try to do is they're gonna have to try to somehow block this defensive front, which I think the Roosters are gonna bring the heat. They're gonna blitz a lot because they can probably handle the Wolverines receiving core without needing a lot of like coverage, which means they can bring in 7, 8 guys in the box every time, and you got to block that and try to get upfield. I I I hope the Wolverines figure out something or how to, combat that. But I think that's going to be the storyline is that the if the Roosters can live in the backfield of the Wolverines, then this game is going to get out of hand very fast. On the plus side, maybe I won't have to watch that much. And one quarter I just turn that route two off, move to the next game. But for the Wolverines, that's not so good.
Yeah.
All right, second game we have Tampa the Saints versus Porvoo Butchers. Storyline or question for one of these teams in this one.
Whew, no, not really. Butchers, you know, Butchers. Just another team in the way. We heard it from
Yeah.
Robitaille, man. They're trying to get that ring, man. So I don't foresee them coming into this game playing down to the Saints. They're just too powerful. These are the games where like Lucas Arella has those big games.
Mm.
Mickey. These are the games where they pretty much get off. You know what I'm saying? And I don't expect anything different. They'll take control of this game real early. Defensively, probably have a few turnovers. The Butchers will probably get a few turnovers because Jesse's going to throw it. He has no other option but to throw the ball, and it's just a it's a tough. This is a tough like time for those games that for those teams that are like the bottom tier teams. This is a tough time because every other game you're playing a strong team, right now. So the Saints just got to come out and try to play better than they did last game. The Butchers, I mean, do what you do. That's what I'm expecting them to just do what they do, man, and it'll probably get ugly real fast. Sucks that it's gonna end up like that, but it is what it is. The Butchers are on a mission, and the Saints are still trying to still trying to get some cohesiveness in that team and still trying to take these beatings without, giving up and all that stuff. So yeah, I see the Butchers pretty much handling this with ease.
Yeah, again, another game that I won't have to watch a lot of, so that's good for me. Just just put up points quickly. But I do think looking at this game, I have my question would be for the Saints: can you stall? Can you hold the ball? Can you figure out a way to make it harder for the Butchers to put up points? Can you use all your downs? Can you get to a third and short and convert and keep the drive going? Like that. That's what the game plan should be. Is let's look at it realistically. You might not be the better team, but you can make them work for it. And the best way to do that is to keep their offense off the field and keep your offense on the field. Find creative ways to get yards. If you can't run the ball at them, run it around them. If you can't run it around them, run it underneath them, on top of them, behind their back. Figure out a way to move the ball down the field, manufacture yards. If you got a one thing that I like to do that I don't know why more people don't do is on third down, it's on two. It's always on two on third down. Give me 5 yards. I mean, figure out a way. Like I've literally played on teams where we just already had it built in that if it's third down, we go on two, and we always get an extra 5 yards a few times a game because of it. And then you slow down the pass rush after that because now they know okay, it might not be on one, so now you save yourself half a second every play that you can run those plays that you couldn't run before. Like things like that. Game planning. If we ever get on the right hash, we automatically jump into a zone read or something, or we go no huddle right away. Those little things is what could make drives last a little bit longer for them. I think they need to figure something out in this game of how can we make, even if you go 4 or 5 minutes and don't score, that's better than a three and out because now their offense is getting cold. Now when they get out there, they're still going against the clock because they're trying to score points fast. They're trying to get up in there and out of there, and you're making them hang around. I think that's what the Saints have to do in this game is just hang around because it's football. You never know. You get into the fourth quarter and it's 7-3, and they're a little worn out. You get them to turn it over in their own red zone. Next thing you know, you call a couple plays, you win 10-7. I don't know. It's possible. You gotta give yourself a chance. I think if they do that, they'll be fine. But other than that, I think an interesting aspect of this. I can't say that I've seen the Saints versus the Butchers very often, but the game is in Tampa, and I do feel like they kind of have the same like stadium vibe. Like they had like that grass field, and then they had like those like old stands on the side and stuff, and then they have the gates around it. So I guess it's a similar situation that they have in Porvu. So for Porvu, it's kind of don't feel like a home game because you're playing on similar like surfaces and stuff. I won't be at the game, obviously, but I do know that in the past, they used to have like the jumpy houses and stuff in Tampa. But this is a Friday game, so probably won't have all the fun stuff. But hopefully, it's a good experience for everybody. I guess we get to the next one. All right, third game. I think this one might be a real one. Wassel Royals versus Kuopio Steelers. Give me a storyline or a question.
Ooh, yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I think this is gonna be a good one. Even though I feel like corporate students are getting better, for some reason, Wasa always make a game interesting some kind of way. And not even to mention alpha, but the alpha effect, and the running game that the Royals have. It's something that you're gonna have to worry about. It's something that you're gonna have to stop because you know that's what they're gonna do. Quarterback will turn the ball over. So if they can some
Yes,
kind
it
of
will.
way limit those, if they can limit the turnovers against them, they'll have a chance. But if you turn the ball over and you're giving Corpio the ball and extra opportunity to score, they're going to score. They got too many guys over there that can get in the end zone. That the confidence is up now. Like the swagger, this Scorpio still the swagger that we're used to seeing. is coming back. It's back now. So if Royals give them opportunities and give that quarterback opportunities to be on the field, then Scorpio is going to score. But also, Scorpio, you cannot be crazy and think you're better than anybody else and kicking Alpha the ball. You cannot do it. Don't let him
Don't,
touch the ball at
don't do
all
it.
if it's possible. If you got to go for it on fourth down, go for it on fourth down. I don't care what you do, but do not kick the ball to Alpha at all in this game. Make the Royals put Alpha on offense for him to touch the ball. In the passing game, you can do what you do. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like Alpha might go on offense a little sooner than he did the last game. I think he'll be on offense a lot more now going out throughout the season because it's just what it is. He needs to be touching the ball because he's dynamic and it gives the Royals another level of offense. Obviously, they got two or three running backs that they pretty much rotate, and then they got one or two receivers that can make stuff happen. So if the quarterback isn't throwing the ball away, the Washington can make this a real interesting game. So I do think this game would be good if both teams, obviously the Royals, if they can limit the turnovers, they can make this a real good game. But we'll see.
I agree with you. I think it's for me the storyline or question would be who is the contender and who is the pretender. I think that's what we're going to get out of this game. What these two teams are they both like 3-1 or something like that? What's the records? I don't know why I don't keep up with standings, but I'm gonna look it
They're
up here.
they're they're equal, like to me they're equal types of team. I think Scorpio might I don't want to say Scorpio is a lot better than the Royals, but I feel like offensively they are. You know what I mean? Like offensively, I feel like Scorpio is better than the Royals
That's
offense.
that's what I was gonna say. When I say contender pretender, we have to look at the full team because I agree with you. I think that their offense is better than the Royals' offense, but I'm not sure that their offense is better than the Royals' defense, and that's who they have to play. They don't play against the Royals' offense; they play against the Royals' defense. The Royals' defense is a good defense, and it's going to be a tough situation for them because they match up. I think they match up toe to toe with the Scorpio Steelers offense in this one. I think the biggest difference maker is going to be how much is Ethan Greenfield utilized. We saw him utilized a lot last week, but it is what it is who you're playing against. But in this game, he could be the difference. I think their receiving core is good. Cho, Quika, young number 18. I think they're all good, but I think that the Wassel Royals secondary actually matches up well against that group of receivers. No one's like really like a barn burner per se. They run good routes. They get open. They run the concepts. The Royals defense is ready for that, and they'll be able to cover that. But the Royals linebacking core, they're good. They're light in the ass. I think Ethan Greenfield is better. I think he's better than their
Oh yeah,
linebacking
yeah.
core. So, how many situations do you get him one on one with the linebackers? How many times do you get him where he's past the first level? It's just him and anybody else. You're gonna have, I think you're gonna have somebody like Alpha Jallo who he overcommits when he's playing safety. He'll come in there, he'll see Ethan Greenfield, he puts his head down, tries to take him out. Greenfield makes that guy miss. Like that's what's gonna happen. And Alpha is known to whiff when he's trying to go in there. And for Greenfield, that's yak. I think in this game, what happens between him and that defense is really going to be the tell because on the other side, I have zero faith in Wassell's offense. How many points they scored this year? Like 12? Quarterback been threw like 8 interceptions. He's probably thrown like
Yeah.
2 touchdowns. Like that's and and not only is he going to throw you interceptions, he's going to fumble the ball too. He's going to fumble the ball and throw the interceptions to the other team. So with that, the Steelers have to know you're going to have plenty of opportunities to score because your defense is going to get you the ball back extra times. So all you have to do is figure out a way to get the ball to Greenfield enough that you guys get in the end zone. So I think it'll be a good one though. Another interesting thing is going to be in Vasa, another grass field. You got a lot of
Yeah.
grass. Is Tampa this field grass? I said it was, but it might. It looks like it might be grass, but it might be turf.
I
Now,
believe it is. I believe they do play on grass. Like I'm trying to remember from when we was there in 2017, but
Yeah,
I thought it
I
was
was
grass.
there in like 2020, I think, or 2021. But I can't
I
remember if
thought
it
it was
was
grass.
grass or
I
turf.
don't think it's true.
I think it is. It might be. I hope it is because
Might be,
that makes more
yeah.
sense. Because if they play on grass, this is random, but I want to talk through it. Porvu, Tampa, Vasa, Kuopio. That's all grass, and that's four teams. E City Giants field is grass as well,
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
five. And then you have who else is in the league? You have you have Roosters and Wolverines. That's turf. But it's that Astro turf. That's
Yeah.
seven. And then who am I missing?
I think you
Crocodiles.
next.
What
San
crocodiles?
San
Yeah.
grass. They
Is it
grass.
grass? Is it grass out there in Sinioki?
Yeah, I think San Diego's grass too.
That's well. So
The many times I've been out there, I don't even be paying attention to it that much.
that's
But
what's
I bet,
crazy. I'm just thinking about it.
yeah, it's
Is
like
I think they're turf. I really think they're turf because they got the weird colors on
they
there.
got the
Yeah, that's
black
turf because
seat, they got the black
they got
seat turf,
they got the yellow
the black
lines.
pebbles. Oh, okay. They
If
might be
there's
a
yellow
soccer field.
lines, yeah, if it's yellow lines, that's how I know it's turf because you don't put yellow lines on grass. It don't make sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yellow lines is only on the turf. That way you can't see it when the other sports are playing. And I think you know what? I think Tampa has yellow lines too. Matter of fact, yeah.
They
Someone
might
just
be.
sent a message. Tampa do play on turf.
Oh,
So
they got turf.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
So you got Tampa and Senioki is turf. That's two turfs, and then you got two Helsinki teams that play on AstroTurf, which is
That's
not
no
even
turf.
turf. That's four,
It's
and
cheating.
then your and then your other four teams play on grass. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's a
Half the
big
league on
difference.
grass.
Definitely,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely a big
yeah.
difference.
So, but it's very interesting that they're able to do that. Though that's pretty cool. Yeah. So that's that game. Let's get to the last one. Well, speaking of those teams, last game on Saturday was Sinioki Crocodiles versus East City Giants in Sinioki on that turf. What do you got for this one? Storyline or question?
I'm honestly curious to see ECG offense. Uh, you know, they Rubenstein can make something happen, but I think Charles O'Connell is going to be too much. Coleman, the D lineman
Mm,
for the Crocs, I think they're just going to be too much for ECG. Like ECG just doesn't have enough. Um, I won't say they don't have enough weapons, but it's just the Crocs defense is so aggressive and it's so like they make plays so much that that's gonna like win them the game. So like their
yeah,
offense, obviously, Deontay Smith is gonna be a lot for ECG to have.
yeah. I don't think their defense can hold. I don't think they.
Yeah,
I don't think they
yeah,
have
that's
anybody
gonna
on
be
defense that can hold him at all.
that's gonna be a lot right there. And he's now like I feel like he's gonna probably get stronger as the season goes on. So ECG will probably have some good plays and they probably will have some little, some excitement in this game. But I think right now the Crocs are trying to get to that point where they're playing consistently above average football. And right now it seems like their running game is what's going to get them there.
Hmm.
So I think defensively, I think they can pretty much like they got a chance against anybody up front seven. They're pretty solid right there. So ECG, you know, I guess we didn't put our picks out like that yet, but I expect the Crocs to win this game. But at the same time, ECG can come with a different type of energy and make it a little more exciting than what we think it probably is. But I just think right now the Crocs, running game is going to be a lot to deal with, and the defense they just got guys over there that are dogs. And ECG, I mean, they're gonna have to show up. And two, maybe we can see Barry. Maybe you see Barry get the ball a little more. He runs hard when he does have the ball, so it'll be nice to see what he can and can't do to help him. You know what I'm saying? But right now, I think the Crocs is kind of licking their chops right now at this game.
Yeah. I'm the whole time you're talking, I was like, what could I say that the Giants could do to make this seem like they got a shot? I couldn't come up with nothing. Not well. I I mean, they can't stop the run game from the Crocs. Like you said, like I don't see anything about their defense that says, okay, we can limit him. We can stop them. I think the EC Giants have a decent defense, but it's not good enough to stop somebody like Sip. And then even if they were able to like stop him on a play or two, I think that Eustace Vertinen, that's his name, has showed us that he's doing well enough. And then even if Vino comes back, I don't know what happened. I don't know why he wasn't in the last game, number 11. So if that receiver comes back, that's even more weapons you have to deal with for EC Giants. I I do want to throw out some words of advice of what maybe they could do. I think offensively, if they were to throw a lot of screens, I think you come out quick and early getting screens to R2 Blumquist at running back. He's got good hands, good footwork. He's great in space. And then you have Jabari's huge ass out there, screen it to Rubenstein and let Jabari knock somebody out the way. He's built like a defensive end. Him going against a corner is a good matchup. And then you give Rubenstein space to get those yards quickly, but far enough away from Akano and Coleman that they don't affect them. And then if you're able to be successful with those screen games, you put the Crocodiles in a situation where they're going to put Akano back at linebacker. And Coleman is great by himself, but that's still much easier than him and Akano on the other side. And I think that's what the EC Giants will have to hope is possible is that if they put Akano at linebacker, it gives you more ability to pass the ball and your best players, or at least your best playmaker, is at the receiver position, and you're going to need to pass the ball to get it to him. And to say more about what you said about Jabari getting the ball, I would have a couple tight end screens or something for him as well. Like I'd get him the ball quick and just let him run over people or get a full head of steam. I don't think he's going to juke anybody, but he could probably run over a couple people and get you 3 extra yards just by falling forward because he's a big guy. I think they have to really strategize how they want to move the ball offensively. Because just like I said, I forget which team was it. Was the Saints? I said earlier they need to stall. They need to
Yeah.
move the ball offensively and control time possession and limit what the Crocodiles can do offensively, so they can kind of dictate it. It's you got to play complement football. I think if they can offensively move the ball consistently, chew up a little clock, those screens that's basically a run game. So if you can do that, those are easy completions. The clock keeps moving. You're moving the ball 3 or 4 yards. You don't have to get 10 yards on the screen. A wide receiver screen that gets you 4 yards is just like an outside run. So you'll take that. If they can do that consistently throughout this game, it stretches the defense, keeps the defense on the field longer, and then when the Crocs come on offense, they're a little bit rushed for time because they feel like they have to like catch up or put points on the board. That's about all I can really hope for. Yeah, nothing else interesting about this matchup, but it. I think it'll be interesting to watch. I'm interested to see how this dynamics of these two teams go. All right, that's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Any last words before we get out of here, Q?
No, no. We're going into another weekend, man, and seeing what everybody got and what they're gonna bring. And see what changes up, see what stays the same. But either way, you gotta play. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So
yeah, yeah.
good luck to all the guys that's going out there trying to prove something. And for the teams that haven't been having any success, still go out there, still give you all learn from your mistakes, watch a lot of film. Even if it's sloppy, find something that you can be better at, whether it's false steps, anything. There's always something you get out of a loss, and there's always something you can get out of a win that can make you better. So, definitely to those teams that are on that lower end of the season, find a way to 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 find something positive out of these games that you're losing and get beat bad by. But you can always be better, and give a lot more effort. So yeah, that's about it. That's my coaching
Yeah.
motivation for this week.
Yeah, I got nothing really except for I hope the weather stays good. If we can keep this plus 24, plus 25 going for about a week, I'll be all right. That's all I need. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm a little bit darker than normal. I've been getting a little color. I'm so happy. It's been like 5 years of being a little too light. This is I went to Atlanta and then I went to Sweden and now back in Finland and the sun is here, so getting some color in me. I feel good about it. Like the color, I feel like it's the color I'm supposed to be. So I'm excited.
Yes.
I hope that the weather stays like this for another week or two. I know all my Finnish people out there, y'all are like, this is too hot. This is ridiculous. I'm burning. I'm turning red. Just bear with me. I'm asking for like another 2 weeks of this, and then we can go back to another 9 months of cold weather. Like I'm just asking for another 2 weeks. That's all I need. I don't need a lot. We got all these other months to be cold. Let me get July. Let me have July and we'll be all right. That's all I wanted. But again, good luck to all the teams this weekend, and we'll be watching you here on the AFF podcast. You can catch our picks on what day do we do picks? Oh yeah, we do them right before the games now. So you catch our picks on American Football in Finland on Instagram. Make sure you subscribe, follow, and like on all social channels. And yeah, until next time, never forget
See,
I
yeah,
we gone.
we go.
I still